There's the girls. See it? Our chicken house is right by the house. Okay, here we go. If I can make this damn thing work. On this walk, we'll make a descent. We'll drop down about 250 feet, I think. I'm not gonna go all the way to the bottom because I got the little hairy guy with me, and it's kind of a struggle if I go all the way to the bottom. But I generally go down the bottom a couple, 3 times a week. Good workout. This cornfield, this is our property line on this side. It's our neighbor's cornfield. Like I say, they raise corn. I mean, it's serious. They eat this during the year, so the growing season's over. We're into the summer, and so that's why it looks the way it does. This is the picture of the other guest house. In other words, those vehicles were on top floor. That bottom floor is the actual house. Here's some raised bed gardens we got. They're easy to water. They don't take a ton of water like the big garden does during the dry season. That's the water tank for it. We have community water here, so it's spring, extremely pure. We just got finished thinning these woods. That's what the project we're working on presently is. Because what they did is they planted all these trees 30 something years ago, I guess, and they've never done anything to maintain them, so they're way too thick in places with a lot of little bitty trees mixed in with the big trees, and they're all the same age. And so we're thinning out the little trees, leaving the big trees. I have a lot of trees, as you can tell, that need to come out of here. Like I say, we'll take out all the big ones and leave the little ones. I mean, take out all the little ones and leave the big ones. So they'll continue to get bigger faster. And you can kind of get an idea how far we've dropped. This is about probably 70 feet so far. Maybe not that far. Maybe more like 60 feet. I've got a sports watch that gives me all those details, but I've got this tablet in my hands and walking on fairly steep ground, so I can't look at the watch. Okay, we're heading down this way. At the very lowest you see down there, you can see the property line, but it's pretty hard to define. If you see that line of green trees that are going along there, that's a canal that feeds the water to a little town called Yaroslawa, and that's my property line down below, way down below. Basically at the bottom of that valley as it starts to go back up. But from here, that's about probably 450 feet down. It's our big garden, and again, it's all dried up because it's a bunch of firewood we put together. We have a fire during the Another cooler part of the year, we have one every night. But we probably have at least 300 a year, 300 fires a year. There's the house for the tractor and the excavator. Almost call it excavadora, because that's the word in Spanish. This kind of our, over here where the electric fence is in the field, that's where we raise pigs when we have pigs. I don't have any pigs right now. That's a greenhouse that actually we're converting into wood storage. Here's a bunch of the wood David's cut and hauled with we're making different things out of vigas and 4x4s, and this is the house Teresa and I lived in while we were building the house. You can tell it's palatial. It's about 230 square feet inside. No plumbing. We used to have a outhouse I built up there, but of course we don't need more. Took it out. There was no electricity. We had a generator, and this was our water to the community water. So we had to come out here to get water time we needed it from the hose. Again, more woods that are way too thick. And it does several things. It slows down the growth of the big trees. The little trees are not going to grow any bigger in diameter probably. They're going to just grow straight up. And they slow down the growth of the big trees. And they also, if you have a fire, it makes the fire much worse. So we're opening it up. So starting down, and all these roads we built. Now this I cut with the excavator. That first road I was walking down, we did that with a pick and shovel. Took about a month. Now this, of course, with the excavator, we can move pretty fast. Okay. We put these rails up, mostly, well, I'll show you here in a minute how steep this is. So that, and when I cut this, if you draw a straight line kind of down this angle where the road is, that's what I was cutting. And you can see how steep the uphill bank is. And that tells you just how steep it was. And it was creepy because you couldn't see anything. When you're sitting in the excavator and you looked out this way, there was nothing except wide open spaces, and it gave you vertigo. Okay, so this is another one that's going to be a little tougher to do because it's so blasted steep. But we'll do this using equipment, using the tractor and the excavator to pull the logs up the hill. But and David will do the cutting. I'm getting too old to try to drag a chainsaw up and down this. It's our drag. Pull behind the tractor or the Polaris for doing the road. Hey, Keelan, we're going this way, buddy. Come on. Yay! Yay! I didn't want to be done. Right here where David's installed the concrete, we made all these concrete posts, and we completely, well, David made all these concrete posts, and they have a rebar cage inside them, so they're more complex than they look like. And we fenced in the whole property. You can see there's a couple of fence posts straight through there. Down below where there's that line of small trees, that's the property line. And so the whole 16.5 acres was fenced in with these concrete fence posts now. And here, fence lines are extremely important, probably the way they were in states back in the day. And if you don't, even if you don't put a fence in to like keep cattle or whatever in, it's all about your property line. Now in this day and age, like this property, we had it surveyed with all the high-tech, satellite stuff, and that's the norm now. But prior to that, it was, you walk this many steps to this rock, and then you went this way to this tree, and of course those things are all subject to be moved. So fence lines were sort of the indisputable thing. You can see how brown it is. Here in about another 3 or 4 months, this will look like Ireland. It'll be so green because the rainy season will start. So you can see that patch, kind of a flat green spot down there. That we're watering that with a spring off the property. The spring produces about 5 gallons a minute, and that's why it stands out green. But that you can tell the property line down there where the concrete fence posts are. So you can see how steep it was here because of how high the bank is. That bank didn't exist before I cut and I'm always proud to say that's my rock. It's about 6 feet across. All right, no, Keelan, we're not going that way, buddy. We're not gonna go down that way today. Okay, so let's see what we can see. All right, you can see neighbor's house down below, what an incredible view we have. I'm always telling David that's all he's ever known all his life, and it's like, man, you don't know how lucky you are. Let's see if I can pull in we got some, well, I can't really see him very well from here. If you can see those windmills down in that valley way below, those are big giant electric windmills. That's a real recent addition. And where they are is a hardcore desert. It's desert all year round. Ecuador is just covered with what they call microclimates because the Andes Mountains are so, the tallest peak you're looking at over there, probably 14,500 feet. And there's a lot of mountains taller than that in Ecuador, up to, I think the tallest volcano is like 22,000 feet. But that stays desert all year round. And so it's amazing. We get like 30 inches, maybe on a good year, 40 inches of rain. They don't get zilch. And it's because of the way the wind cuts through that valley in front of those mountains, and it cuts off all the rain. It's basically from there to the coast. From there, it's probably 40 miles to the coast. It's desert. It's desert the whole way. Okay. Still trying to figure out how to use this thing. I don't do social media much. And normally when I'm walking this stuff, I have two, well, they're actually canes, but I use them as walking sticks because it's a great opportunity to get an upper body workout. So I really use my arms heavily doing the up and down. Now this is where it's going to get a little sketchy. I may bust my butt because right in here, this in here gets down to maybe almost a 30-degree incline, or 30%, and that's another thing where those canes I use as walking sticks come in so handy. Now it's gonna be slow going right now because I don't want to fall with this what do they call it? I'm concentrating. I can't think. Tablet. It's a tablet, not a laptop. Yeah, and all this, you can tell all this is real loose. And the worst part, it's easier to go down in the wet season than it is in the summer. In the dry season, because see, there's lots of rock. So when it's wet, it's pretty darn stable. But in the dry season, it'll put you on your butt so fast and make your head swim. When I come back up, I'm going to put this in my backpack. Okay, so here, David and I'm actually, it's fair to say David and I, because you can see all the trees we're marking are the ones we're going to leave. So this has already been sort of thinned out. Let's see. So David and I have been sawing lumber, and I've been working with him on that because he doesn't have any real experience. We're using a Alaskan chainsaw mill I brought with me from the States, and when they do it freehand, and it's amazing how good they can do freehand accurate, but it's nowhere near as accurate and as consistent. Yeah, I'm probably gonna bust my ass here, so this may be a thrill. Basically, any place we have these handrails, this is from people come and visit, and I use them too. They're great I use them more to pull myself up than so you get more upper body workout. Okay, it's a little deceiving here. That line of green trees down there is so steep here that line of green trees makes you think that's the edge of the property. But actually, the edge of the property, those green trees, it drops down so steep you can't see the tops of the pine trees from here. They're down below. It probably drops another 100 foot down to that canal. I mean, you know, we've got some beautiful places to commit suicide on this property, especially like up there at the base of these pine trees growing up there. It's a sheer drop. I mean, in other words, if you were to slip and fall there, you wouldn't stop for 60, 70 feet. You wouldn't fall straight down. You'd be sliding, but buddy, you would be carrying the mail. Okay, this is a tripod that we use a chain hoist to pick up the big logs to put on this thing to saw them. And these are, see these that give you, I'll put my hand in here so you get a scale idea how big these are. Like that, this one right here is probably 14 inches wide. All right. Anyway, you can see. So most of these are probably 8, 10 inches wide. That's a smaller one up there. We'll probably get, 6, 8 inches. The rest of the stuff, the smaller things like in here, will either be turned into vigas, which they use to build the roofs in the rustic homes around here. And the rest of it will be turned into firewood. And we got lots and lots of firewood right now. All right, buddy. Look out, Keelan. Don't let me step on you. I'm preoccupado. Okay. Now, if you look over there, if you look kind of, I don't know how, let me see if I can double this thing. You see that line of concrete fence posts? That's my property line over there. Like I say, we just have 16.5 acres. It's not a whole lot. Let's see if I can get through here without breaking my neck. Oh. All right. Okay. All right, so you can see that road cut down way down below there. It's so hard to get on these things, I noticed, to get any kind, but that's probably 70 feet below us. So I'm saying, if you go all the way down to the canal, which I do 2 or 3 times a week just for exercise, and it's always a beautiful walk, and you see lots of birds, and every once in a while you get to see a critter. It's a good workout. It takes me from the house down back up, probably takes me close to an hour, maybe a little over. I can't remember. It ends up being about 2.5 kilometers, which 3 kilometers is a mile. but it's a steep, straight up and straight down. I don't know if you can see, get an idea of the angles. All right, we'll go up here a little further and then terminate this thing. Now remember, when I bought this property, none of these roads existed, and there really weren't even any trails except for the ones that the cows had made. And so that excavator, well, I bought it brand new, and right now it has a little over 500 hours, and so we've used the dickens out of it. And this road ends right up here and becomes a trail a little bit further. It just got so steep, and there just wasn't any real benefit to trying to get over here with equipment, so I didn't worry about finishing the road. So you can see the road goes on up here, and behind that bush that's kind of hiding the road, it goes into a trail, and you can see where the trail goes, and that's a handrail. See right up behind there are the concrete posts that mark the property line. Keelan, you better be careful, you're going to fall and break your neck, buddy. You can see how steep it goes, because we had a lot of concrete. David made about 450 of these concrete posts, and because of the way we changed our idea about how we would do a concrete post, and in areas where it made sense, we'd put a wood post between them. So we ended up with a lot more than we needed. Now, so we were using them, so you can see where that trail cuts through, goes, and my property line's on the other side of those trees. And it goes down. You can see again, that's that line of small trees, and then right here where that tree is where that spring comes out, and it really pumps out the water, and it's just pure. We've part of it is we recently applied and got the water rights, and water is real critical out here, and so we got the water rights. Even though it's your property, if somebody had gotten the water rights for it 50 years ago, it's still their water rights, and but nobody had ever applied for these legally. And so we went through the whole process. Took about 3 or 4 years, and I don't know, probably a couple of $1,000s. But anyway, so we finally got them designated to us. And but one of the things you got to do is, once you give them the water, you got to fence that area in, and you can't use it to water big animals or anything. Now, once it leaves that area, you can do anything you want to with it. But right there at the source, and it's right at the base of that tree right there. At the source, and for a given area around it, you can't do anything. You've got to pretty much leave that back to nature. And so you build a fence that's good enough for deer and things to jump over, and small animals to get in and drink and whatever else. They got like first shot. Then if there's anything left over, which on one spring this big, there's a lot left over, that's yours. Okay, I think I'm going to call it a day on this thing, and go up and do whatever you got to do to put it on YouTube.